But we start with this breaking news from the royal family, who have been holding a summit at the Queen's Sandringham estate about the future of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Joining us now from New York, NBC News senior international correspondent Keir Simmons. Keir, I know you just flew in this morning. What is going on?
That's right, Andrea, and we are learning that from Sandringham, the Queen's estate, that the royal family's summit has now broken up, and a statement from the Queen has been released, and it looks as if it's kind of a holding pattern, but the headline is that the royal family have agreed that the Sussexes, Harry and Meghan, will be able to spend time in Canada and the UK during what's being called by the Queen a period of transition, Andrew. Now, the statement from the Queen goes on to say, these are complex matters for my family to resolve, and there is some more work to be done. But she says, Her Majesty says, I have asked for final decisions to be reached in the coming days. The statement from the Queen describes the conversations today as constructive discussions on the future of my grandson and his family, and goes on to say, Andrea, that the Queen and her family, the royal family, are entirely supportive of Harry and Meghan's desire to create a new life as a young family. We would perhaps, now this is interesting, we would have preferred them to remain full-time working members of the royal family. We respect and understand their wish to live a more independent life as a family while remaining as a valued part of my family. And she also says that they have made clear they don't want to be reliant on public funds, which means that they don't want to rely on the British taxpayer, which of course was one of the crucial questions. So I think the royal family would have felt as if they needed to make some statement after this unprecedented meeting with Prince Harry, Prince Charles, Prince William and the Queen, but there clearly is an awful lot more to be figured out here. That's what the Queen is saying.
Well, and as you're reading through the statement, there are some clear signals here. Public funds is a big issue because the British taxpayers, this means that they will no longer rely on the British taxpayers. Yeah. Will they have security? Who will pay for that security? He does, as you've reported, get $6 million, I believe, and translated from pounds, from Prince Charles's funds. He also has a big inheritance from Princess Diana. Yeah. So they are going to be well off. Yeah. But the question, I guess, is, one of the big issues with Princess Diana's terrible, disastrous, fatal crash was she did not have British security, or she would never have been in that situation. So will they have security when they spend their time in Canada, which is part of the Commonwealth? And will they be getting any other, I guess, without taxpayer money, will there be restrictions, and what restrictions will there be on their independent endeavors? Yes. In other words, what kind of commercial activities can they undertake? Because there were some possible commercial activities that might not have fit with the royal brand, if you will. Yeah,
I would be amazed, honestly, if Harry and Meghan are not given some kind of security, because the point you make, and it's a really good one, is that what happened with Princess Diana, and of course the Queen has a long memory and she's been doing this for a long time, what happened with Princess Diana in that terrible fatal car crash in Paris was that she no longer had security, and people said that that might not have happened if she did have security. So that's one aspect that I just can't imagine the royal family agreeing for Harry and Meghan to go off without some kind of protection. But the question of whether taxpayers' money is spent on their new life, that is a really difficult one, because, of course, the British taxpayer is going to want to know that they're getting value for money. It's not going to look good for the royal family if Harry and Meghan are seen, I'm not saying this would be the case, but are kind of seen to be off having a good time at the expense of the British taxpayer. So that's a very difficult issue. Another one you point out, which they're still clearly trying to figure out, is how you deal with the prospect of Harry and Meghan doing some kind of commercial deals, maybe Meghan going back to work as an actress or in fashion, how you deal with that if it has implications for the royal brand, if you like. And one final point, which I think is very important too, Harry and Meghan have been on the edge of being quite political, friends with the Obamas, their network of Hollywood stars and other, very famous people, particularly here in the US, are often outspoken politically, and that again has the potential to cause problems for the royal family. What you can't have is a royal court of North America, headed by Harry and Meghan, is a kind of rival to the royal court in London. These are the kind of things that it just doesn't take take a day to work through, and I think that's why this statement is clear that there's a lot to do and they haven't figured it all out yet.
And there's a lot of reporting to be done as well on what emotionally is very connected to a lot of Americans who lived through the Diana tragedy and their growing up, and even those people in America who knew Harry personally and knew William a bit, and certainly knew Diana because she was traveling here so often, is the relationship between the brothers. Keir, a lot to hear from you throughout the day and tonight on Nightly News. Thank you so much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.